John Wesley, 18th century preacher, once penned in a letter to a friend of his, and he said, and I quote, "Give me 100 who fear nothing but sin and desire nothing but God, and I care not a straw whether they be clergymen or laymen. Such alone will shake the gates of hell and set up the kingdom of heaven upon earth." That kind of reminds me of a complaint that an angry mob in Thessalonica brought to the city leaders in Acts chapter 17, about verse 6, where Luke writes, those Thessalonians were griping about the preaching of the gospel in their city. And it says, "These who have turned the world upside down have come to our town too." Although the city's inhabitants meant it as a critique or a criticism, it was actually the most supreme compliment you could ever pay. It's an acknowledgement that the gospel was making an impact, that Paul and Silas were being effective in the city of Thessalonica with the preaching of the gospel. Jesus says it this way. He says, "Whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." That's the way Mark records it. His disciples, Jesus' disciples, would have easily understood that illustration. In the first century, when they saw someone surrounded by Roman guards and carrying a cross on their shoulders, they knew exactly what that meant. They would have no question whatsoever in their mind what was going to happen next. That person is carrying an instrument of death on their shoulder and soon would be crucified with that cross. Someone who carried the cross was someone who's going to die. And so what Jesus is saying is describing someone who wants God's will more than their own, will carry their cross. Paul said it this way. He says, "My old self has been crucified with Christ. It no longer lives, but the life I live, Christ lives in me." If ever there was a time that the world needed to be turned upside down on its ear, it's now. Fair warning, though. Fair weather followers, don't worry about applying. The world being turned upside down is only going to happen through committed followers like those who desire nothing else but God. Are you ready to flip the world on its ear?